Get the hell back into that car!
After becoming Formula One world champion, Nico Rosberg has stunned motor racing.
I've decided to end my Formula One career.
But you were great buddies when you were growing up.
We were best friends when we were kids, yeah? Oh, there's no relationship. It's proper war. It's like war. This guy is like God whenever he walks into a room. Michael Schumacher. He lives and breathes destroying his teammate mentally. Michael, stop these rubbish games. My engineer says to me on the radio, you now have to pass Verstappen, otherwise you risk losing the world championship.
What?
So scared, the marginal gains pulls my visor open, push into this discomfort. I'm like a kid. This is probably the one moment where it's best not to go into exact details.
That's mad, isn't it?
Never fear a storm.
Be ready to adapt.
The skill is staying true to ourselves.
Nico, welcome to High Performance.
Great to be here, and thanks for making your way all the way to Monaco.
It's almost 10 years since you were the guy driving a Formula One car around this track. I really want to explore the last 10 years for you. In that time, have you come to the realization that when you left F1, you were running towards something or you were running away from something?
Both. I was running towards my dream, which started as a very young child watching my father race. He was at the time driving in the European Touring Car Championship, and it was incredible. And that's where the dream started for me, that I would also want to be a professional race car driver. My father was managing Mika Häkkinen's career. Mika Häkkinen became a 2-time world champion, so I was watching that very closely. And all that together was, okay, I wish I could be that one day myself. But it seemed impossible because those guys were like gladiators. It's like impossible to get there myself. But that's where the dream started. So I was running towards that dream. But then also once I did get there, the further I got along, it's also running away from failure and failing. So that was like one of the big driving forces, was like trying to do everything I could to avoid failure to win.
But even in that 2016 season where you became the world champion, did you still have that feeling that you were running away from failure, even when you'd become the best in the world?
Well, that's where it's the most pronounced, because you're close to the top of Everest, and almost anything you do is a step back down, which is failure. So that's where it actually gets the most intense and the most scary in a way. You know, that it's proper scary to fail when you're all the way up there.
Let's go to the moment then that you cross the line in Abu Dhabi, and then you do know you are the world champion.
Yeah.
Then all those fears and all those doubts you can finally put to bed. Is that the reality of what happened in your head?
Crossing the line, first of all, there was just relief. There was no joy. There was no happiness or anything. It was just, oh my God, relief.
And did you expect that, or did it feel different to how you thought it would feel?
Relief and me saying, that's it, I'm done. I've done it.
But how quickly did you decide?
Oh, on the line.
No.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah. This was like when you're watching at home or you're watching the television, it looks like the easiest thing in the world to drive that little race car, drive it in circles from time to time, win the race. But when you're in it and you're in that life, it's like super, super hard. It's very intense, this thing. So which all I think everybody who is in a high performance job will know this feeling, but it gets exacerbated even more when you're in the public eye and there's hundreds of millions of people following you live. You're measured by tenths of a second. Everything is on a knife's edge because driving these race cars is so incredibly hard. Now, some people listening might say, oh, yada, yada, yada. You're earning the top guys now 50 million a year. Just shut up and drive. But you, as a human, you just, you're in your little bubble, and everybody has their own struggles then. And even though you're earning 50 million a year, or the best are now, then the struggles are still real in that moment. Even a Lewis Hamilton, earning tons of money at Ferrari. If you ask him about last year, how horrible was it? From a scale from 1 to 10, he'll give you a 10. Him coming to a new team, The whole of Italy slowly but surely turning against him because he's not delivering. His young teammate beating him, although Lewis is earning much more money. That's a horrible situation to be in. So I'm pretty sure, without speaking to him, I don't know, but just looking from the outside, I think it would have been a pretty horrible situation, and there would not have been much fun at all. Fun would have been probably a 1 out of 10. So it is. You're on the edge, and it's intense.
Right. So this is what I'm interested in. In this period where you're sharing the team with Lewis, did you have to stop being the real Nico Rosberg?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Because the real Nico Rosberg is way too nice.
So what were you doing? Give us an example.
Yeah, I had to push and be tougher sometimes, even though it didn't come naturally to me. And again, you have the same example with Lando. Lando, generally, people will say he's just too nice.
Yeah.
In wheel-to-wheel battle, he has always lost against Max in the time in the last years. Every wheel-to-wheel battle against Max, he lost out. Because what Lando needs to do once is just hold his ground, cause a crash.
Yeah.
And that will send a message to Max. Oh, he's changing. He's becoming more ferocious. Maybe I need to calm it down a bit next time against him, because otherwise we're going to crash. Right. And you just have to do that.
So did you do that?
Well, we crashed, right?
You did. Barcelona 2016.
Yeah. That's just me consciously saying I have to be more firm. I have to not yield.
Like, are you glad that happened?
Naturally, I would yield. Like I did so often before that. And I had to push myself hard, and it was part of my visualization and repetitions that I was doing in meditation. I was working very hard on that, visualizing myself not yielding, and being firm in my position. And that was a strong part of my visualization. And even I was meditating with posture. It's like you meditate with a posture of like strength, and it's all these details that add up. And then in the heat of the moment, that preparation helps to hold your ground and not yield. And unfortunately, then of course it led to quite a few crashes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because Lewis is such a genius, most of the time it was more my fault than his fault.
But are you actually
but
glad?
It didn't matter. Look, in hindsight,
collided?
it was still for me. I had to do that.
But it sent a message to Lewis.
I had to do that because it sent a message to him. I think it took him back a little bit. Something's changing here with Nico. He's not the Mr. Nice Guy anymore. And that was a very important ingredient to then having a chance to actually beat him one day.
And I don't know whether you've spoken about this before, but when the big incident happened in Barcelona, did Mercedes come to you both and say, you're fired?
First of all, there was the Toto throwing the headset on the table, destroying the headset. There was that moment without the headset though.
Oh really?
There was no headset in his hand.
What, he just smashed his hand?
No, but he came in hard.
Did he?
He came in, he was like, what the hell are you guys doing out there? Because Red Bull, we handed the win to Red Bull, of course, and that's the worst thing you can do, hand the win to the fierce enemy Red Bull. That's the most horrible thing. So Toto was not happy with that. And
but did he say you two are fired until you come back and apologize?
It never came to that fired thing, no. But I know he actually had internal discussions.
Yeah,
with the big boss, Dieter Zetsche, about that.
About firing you both.
About taking that step as a... I don't think it was probably suspending or something. Would have been a first step for a race.
Yeah.
Something like that. So there was actually that conversation behind closed doors. It never came to us. That's pretty crazy. Huh? Wow.
And how did you feel when you heard that that's what they did?
I didn't hear it at the time. What Toto did was he put a contract on the table that we had to sign. And it was 50-50 of the damage I had to pay myself, and it didn't matter whose fault it was. So even if it was 90% Lewis's fault, I had to pay 50-50 of the actual damage we caused. So one of the crashes, I had to pay $360,000 was what I had to pay. So that definitely calmed us down. That was expensive. Like that was not really a fun exercise. So one crash was $360,000. That was expensive. So that was one thing he did, contract on the table. One thing that they could have done better, the most important thing is again, a lot of communicating. Preparing for every possible scenario as best you can. And the team also could have done, but it's hard to predict all these things. You can't predict that there's going to be such wheel-to-wheel incidents with teammates.
Yeah.
But they could have done more effort, really laying out exactly whose fault it is in what different situation. And we did a good job then in doing more and more of that. So it was really all the way to the details. Like if your tire is there, then it's the inside car, his corner. But if you're blah, blah, blah. So we really went to the extent of every single detail.
It's adding so much more to think about that in a race.
Yeah, but you have to. You have to, because at least you have guidelines that you can then refer to afterwards. Because if you have a crash and it's a big fight behind closed doors, because no one really knows who's at fault, then it really becomes difficult. Because then people take sides and you feel unfairly treated, and that's when it all spirals out of control completely.
And what was your relationship like with Lewis in this period? Were you talking to each
relationship? No, there's no relationship. It's proper war. It's like war. Yeah, there's no relationship.
What,
don't talk about it. Don't talk. War.
Really? But you were great buddies when you were growing up.
Yes, but when you fight for a world championship, you will always compromise the friendship for getting the world championship. Unfortunately, it's just it's such a big dream that you'll just if you choose, you will choose the world championship over that friendship. It's not like we were best friends at the time anyway. We were best friends when we were kids, but then we kind of anyways drifted apart during our careers, and we got on well, but we're not best friends anymore. And then between getting on well or winning a world championship, you'll choose winning the world championship. And to win a world championship, you need to exploit the gray areas all the time. You need to, in wheel-to-wheel races, you cannot just be the nice guy. You need to push into the gray area, hold your ground, because that's the other guy's got to do it too. Yeah. So you got to go there.
You're almost living together. You have engineering meetings together. You're in the garage together. You're at media days.
So as you can imagine, it's maybe not the most comfortable environment.
So would you just not talk?
No talk.
But how would you prepare for that? Because you're not.
That's not you, though.
Yeah, that's not you.
That's not me, no.
So what would you do before you were walking into what could be a contentious meeting? How would you prepare to be able to be the battle ready?
I'm not good at that. That's the problem. I was not good at that. That's and I didn't have anybody to help me. Because my dad was not there at the track, because we agreed that it was better, because I put a lot of more pressure on my shoulders when my dad was there, because it's so important for me I want him to be proud, and I want to impress him. I need his recognition. So when he was there, I always got a little bit extra pressure, and we kind of realized that. And so that's why he then stayed back and didn't come so much to races anymore, which is great. Yeah, so it's never really a strength of mine to know exactly what the right thing to say. Yeah. The right version of the truth, remember? Lando can say perfect lap or I messed up turn 10. Both is the truth.
Yeah.
And I was not good at that. And Lewis was very, very good at that. Like in meetings, saying the right thing. It's a battle off the track. It's a huge battle, because do you have the team on your side or not? Yeah. And if you say the right thing, then you got the team on your side. If you say the wrong thing,
did you feel the team was on his side?
No, it was divided. Some people were Camp Lewis and some people were my side, which was important and helpful, of course. But it remains tough when you're up against the people who are Camp Lewis. One of the things that I felt most difficult about was Paddy, because Paddy Lowe was our team principal, I think it was called at the time. He won the championship with Lewis at McLaren, so they had an existing very deep relationship. I generally felt that Paddy would, if in doubt, he would be on Lewis's side, and that was for me personally, subjectively, maybe you don't know if it's true or not, but subjectively it felt like one of the most difficult things for me to deal with, because Paddy was then most of the time the one discussing, the first person to discuss any incidents with us was him. Before any other senior people like Toto or Nicky got involved, we would do a lot of the incidents just with him first. And that generally was difficult for me. It felt difficult.
Yeah. By the way, I'm fascinated what Niki Lauda was like in a situation like this. How was
Niki Lauda said right, tomorrow morning, Monday, I want both of you at my house in Ibiza. We are going to make a discussion around this. He was the mediator.
Did you go?
He did a great job with mediating.
Did you go to Ibiza?
Because what he did as a mediator was he pushed us each to take ownership at least a little bit of what happened.
Yeah.
So to get to a point where you say, okay, yes, that I actually could have done better. Yes, I understand. That was part of what caused our crash. Whereas going into the conversation with Nicky, it's 100% the other guy's fault. And then at the end of the conversation is, okay, yes, I understand that part. Maybe, yes, I could have done better. And that is my fault, actually. And then Lewis the same. And so that then...
Who went first?
That's the... Sorry?
Who conceded first?
No, you don't go together. It's one by one.
Okay.
So
right.
he goes into the house first, comes out, I go into the house next.
And you're both outside not talking to each other. It's like naughty school kids going to see the headmaster.
And then most of the time it would be, though, not putting us together, but just getting us to a point where we are calmed because when we accept that we actually had part of the blame. And then sometimes it's also then sitting us together and getting to a point where you kind of make a little bit of progress to just take a bit of the tension out, the air out of the...
Yeah. Many people are still intrigued by the relationship with you and Lewis. Have you spoken since, reconciled, had this kind of discussion between
We're
you?
neutral now. The craziest thing was that we were neighbors in the same building, so I moved out since I moved out, but we were neighbors, so we saw each other quite a bit. So we're just neutral.
And have you ever spoken about 2016?
No. We took a moment, a very personal moment when I made my decision. So we had that. But I think we also have very different lives and interests. So there's no... We wouldn't be best friends anyways with the different lives that we have. And so it's just neutral and it's fine. It's okay. Bad things happen, so you can't fix that so easily either. And then who's going to say sorry first? I don't know. So that's it. So it's neutral. And I'm amazed that he's still driving. It's crazy. I'm out since 10 years. And it's not like we were young at the time. And he's still going. And it's incredible how he has managed to build his life with such stability as well, to be able to have such longevity in a career, no scandals, performing at such a high level. Because it's not only about being a great race car driver. You need to build a life around that, and not have scandals, not have. There's infinite examples, and Lewis has done an incredible job to build a solid life, to be able to perform at such a high level for such a long time, and now taking on another huge challenge now at Ferrari and a huge struggle. It's getting better now because with these new regs, he's performing much better than he was last year. But still, he's up against Charles Leclerc, who's like at the peak of his ability, and he's one of the greatest drivers of this generation. So it's going to be difficult, but it's great to see him taking on the challenge. And
Would you like to see him become an 8-time world champion?
Yeah, of course.
I would.
And he would deserve it. He'd deserve it, and it would be great to see him keep progressing as he has into this year. And I think he'll win a race at least this year. But to get the championship, I think the car's not good enough, and his level is not quite there yet. Hopefully he can still improve through the season. But
it would be inspiring for all us men in our 40s to see a world champion. How about, is he 40?
Turned 41.
41, wow, amazing. And what was hardest for you? Was it season 1 where you first come into F1 as the son of a Formula 1 world champion? Was it when you get put into a Mercedes as a German driver alongside the great Michael Schumacher? Was it when you finally had the opportunity to win the world title up against Lewis Hamilton in 2016 and that got really, really pretty contentious? Or was it all as hard?
No. So the hardest is very easy. It's season 1. When you come in as a 20-year-old, and as I said before, I'm not the super confident person, so I come in more worried, am I good enough to be in this sport with the gladiators, on the grid next to Michael Schumacher? My God, I felt completely like a fish out of water, completely out of place. What am I doing here? This guy's the greatest, and I'm on the grid next to him. Doesn't add up. So that is, and then I also got into a situation where I had a really bad car. So I had a team full of, feeling-wise, army generals who had no idea what empathy meant. So it was just so the team being full of army generals.
Is that what it was
The car
like?
being a disaster and breaking down all the time. Plus me, personality-wise, being on the younger side, less confident side than some others maybe. And so it's a really difficult situation to get into because you also know, as a young driver, look at Kimi Antonelli last year, you only really have one shot. If you fail in the first year and you get kicked out, it's 95% that your career in F1 is done. And that's what Kimi Antonelli was going through last year. He was really so close to being 50-50 whether the team retains him or kicks him out. It was literally, I mean, it was very close. Without knowing it, just looking from the outside, it was really touch and go, because it was just so hard to see, is he really going to be able to turn this around and actually perform in a good enough way to be worthy of staying in F1 and with Mercedes? Because at times in the season, it was so bad what he was doing. Mistakes and being slow and this and that, it was really struggles.
Here at High Performance, we're obsessed with marginal gains, and nowhere is that clearer than in Formula One, where performance comes down to visibility, precision, and speed. Because when decisions need to happen fast, the teams performing at the highest level have to see everything clearly in real time. And you know what? Managing a growing business is not that different. When you're managing team spending across markets, travel, suppliers, multiple currencies, small inefficiencies can really quickly add up. And that's why High Performance is partnering with Revolut Business. Their spend and expense management tool gives us real-time visibility and control across the business, from company cards to approvals to tracking team spending as it happens. So instead of getting buried in admin or outdated systems, you can stay focused on growing your business. And right now, as a High Performance listener, you can get a £200 welcome bonus when you sign up through our link in the description and add money to your account by the 30th of September 2026. Subscription fees and T's and C's apply. It feels like everyone's talking about morning routines right now. Wake up at 5 a.m, cold plunge, journal. It all sounds great, but if you've got a busy life or a job or kids like I have, the truth is, it just isn't realistic. I've learned from some of the best performers in the world that the routines that work are the ones that you can stick to. So one thing that I do pretty much without fail is take AG1. I drink 1 scoop mixed with water, usually before my morning coffee. It's such an easy way to get vitamins, minerals, and good bacteria for your gut all in one go. I also think it tastes great. And the truth is that if I don't take it for a couple of days, I notice my focus, my energy starting to drop off. And with so many supplements out there, it's so hard to know what to trust. Well, AG1 is third-party tested and Informed Sports certified. That's why it's trusted by elite athletes. To try it, go to drinkag1.com/highperformance and pay £59 instead of £79 for your first month, plus a free welcome kit, vitamin D3 and K2, and 5 travel packs. And hey, if it's not for you, they'll refund your first order in full within 30 days, risk-free.
And so as a young driver, you have that you know that your chance is now, and that's maybe it. So when I was then with Williams and car was breaking down and I was crashing, making mistakes and last and whatever, that's a tough situation to be in. And so there was that. And let me give you an example of the Army general. So two examples. One is Patrick Head. So it was Melbourne qualifying, and Q1 I was 16th. So just about, or 15th, just made the cut, but almost last. He comes to the car, he from the side pulls my visor open and says to me, and he's shouting in an Army general, because it's quite loud. So it's a really powerful shout. If you keep driving like that, you're going to put us out of business. What? I'm like a kid just starting my...
Hold on, was it Melbourne, not the
Melbourne.
first?
Yeah, so this was 2007. First race of 2007.
Okay.
So it's not quite the right fit, but more or less it fits the story. So 2007, so it's the first race of my second year.
Yeah.
If you keep driving like that, you're going to put us out of business. Shouting,
And you
into
say?
my eyes. I'm studying the data. I'm in my most high focus moment of studying the data to try and make progress. He interrupts me, comes to the car. And this guy is the legend. He was my dad's boss. So they won the world championship with my dad.
Right.
24 years before that.
Yeah.
This guy's a legend. And he says, in the middle of qualifying. Oh, man. That's not very empathetic.
But to think that he thought that was the most helpful thing that he could do in that situation.
Well, I was 6th right after that. So maybe, it was horrible, but maybe he was right. I don't know. But it didn't seem like the right thing to do. Anyways, and then the other story, this was year 1 then, Hockenheim, maybe 9th race of the season. After the start, messed up the start. I was last, and running last in turn 10 of the first lap, I spun out on my own and crashed. So that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And so then at 6 o'clock in the evening, I'm in my car on my way home, get a phone call from Sam Michael, who is the deputy boss. And he says to me, Nico, was it Frank Williams? I think it was Sam Michael. Sam Michael, you were useless to us this weekend. So he called me to tell me that you were useless to us this weekend. That's the words. Wow. Oh, shit. Come on, guys. Instead of like, hey, what can we do to don't worry, first year these things happen, and hey, important is just to learn from every mistake and grow. It's through mistakes that we grow. So it's normal. You got to get through this, and look, you've done this and this so well. So let's just build on that. And you were useless to us this weekend. That's hard. So that's why I'm saying there's a team full of army generals. Yeah,
but we can smile in some ways about that now.
No, I still can't smile about that. No,
okay.
I'm just kidding.
You can.
No,
but
I can smile about anything that happened in my career
painful.
because the ending was so beautiful that I can smile about anything. But whatever was thrown at me, I don't care.
In that moment.
Horrible. I'm like destroyed. And he calls me on purpose to tell me this.
That's mad, isn't it?
Like, you're useless. Because a Patrick Head, they had their greatest success with drivers like my dad, or drivers like Alan Jones, who my dad had a fire in his race car in Brazil, jumped out of the car, and Patrick Head runs towards him and screams at him, "Get the hell back into that car." And my dad, "My mustache is on fire." And they have a shouting match like that. And then my dad gets back in the car and finishes second. So that's how they kind of grew up in the sport with these macho drivers. Alan Jones was the same. You had to shout at him and probably threaten to punch him to get him going, to get him fired up and actually perform well. Wow. So I think that's how they got into the sport, and that was just the way they were. So
so when you look back to joining Williams and being led by army generals,
I hope they listen to this.
Hopefully they do.
Actually, Michael apologized. He wrote me a WhatsApp 3 years ago. He's been reflecting. He said, "I'm so sorry. I think I was a bit tough on you."
But I think also that was the team led by Frank Williams, and he came as well from that era.
Oh, so it's the same. Army
that was the culture.
Oh, same thing.
Army general culture.
Empathy did not exist.
Did empathy exist from Michael Schumacher when you raced alongside him? Because I think that's
he's the opposite. Also, he's a mental warrior. That guy. I mean, he lives and breathes destroying his teammate mentally, but not in a mean way, in a casual gray area, using the gray areas, daily force. He wakes up, it's just natural to him. It's not like he doesn't have to push himself to destroy his teammate naturally, mentally. It's his way of life. It's his competitive, super casual, and all day long. Huh? So whether it's we arrive at the track and there's only one parking. There's 20 parking spots at the track. Everybody else has to park a kilometer away. So one for each driver. Now there's the team bosses also. And Michael would park his car just slightly across into my parking spot. So two wheels just across the white line in a way that I cannot fit anymore. Like literally I would scratch the cars if I would try. So it stresses me out, obviously, because I'm late for the meeting. You always arrive 1 minute to go, engineering meeting. It's the most horrible thing to come a minute late when everybody, even the factory, 50 people at the factory, everybody's online. And we're just waiting on Nico to arrive. Horrible. So he parks the car across. So I'm stuck because I cannot leave it in the middle of the road. And it's just all day long. Monaco qualifying, he locks himself in the only toilet that we had in the garage. There's only one. And the last thing you do as a driver is you always go to the bathroom before getting in the car. And he locks himself in, looking at his watch. The time is ticking, and he knows that it's the most horrible thing is jumping in a race car when you're stressed, because you need to adjust your seatbelts, and there's these crutch straps at the bottom that are high risk. You need to take your time to position them very carefully and nicely, because the worst that can happen is if something shifts out of place whilst you're out on the racetrack.
Yeah.
Because then there's nothing you can do about it. Every driver has experienced this. It's so painful. And because when you're braking, you slide down into the crutch. And if something's not right in position, you have an hour to go and you're out on the racetrack and you know you can't do anything about it. That's horrible. Yeah. So you don't want to jump in the car stressed. And he's in the bathroom, lock the door. I'm knocking on the door and I don't know who's in there because no one's talking. Come out, please, I need to go. And he knows, okay, 3 minutes to go, 2 minutes to go. And by then I had to find a bucket to in the back of the garage to pee.
Honestly.
So I'm there where the mechanics are working around me and I'm peeing in a bucket, shaking, stressed. And this is like all day long. That's like, he loved it.
Would you ever go to
And,
Michael and say, stop with the games, come on?
Today, yes, but at the time I was too young. But now, knowing everything,
Yeah.
I would stand right in front of him. I would look him in the eye. I would say, Michael, stop these rubbish games. Like, this is useless, you know, like, and it's not right, you know, to cause me a stress just before I get in the car. Stop, you know. I would now today I would do that because it's showing vulnerability in the moment, but actually it's a great strength.
And I bet you no one ever
So
did that.
he sees that it's causing me suffering, but actually showing vulnerability is a superpower. So it feels scary in the moment, but it has such a big impact. And so today I would be super brave and I would do it. But remember, this guy is like God, huh?
Yeah.
Like he walked into a room and the engineers stopped working whenever he walked into a room. Everybody, the mouths went open. Michael Schumacher. It's literally, this guy's God. I mean, greatest race car driver
And
we've
would
ever
he ever
seen.
put his
And
arm around you and...
No. He in 3 years of being teammates, he did not mention my name once in 3 years of sitting across the table in engineering meetings. I did not exist.
What would he call you?
No, I did not exist. Like it was not, I did not exist because mentioning my name would be showing respect. Like, but not me not existing was pushing me, the little guy there who we don't even know his name. We don't even know his name, you know. That was his mental worship. It was he never once asked like, what did Nico do there, or not once, like not a single time. It's
So what
unbelievable.
did you do, like, to protect yourself?
So that was the learning, which I just also covered from my work with my psychologist, where he said, when you feel that someone's not treating you right or something, the best is, with respect but firmly, tell the person, this is causing me great discomfort. I don't think it's fair. Please treat me appropriately. And one of the examples was now the team boss of Williams, James Vowles, who was our genius strategist. And he too was consumed by this genius this God sitting in the room with us at the beginning of Michael joining Mercedes. So one of the first races, we were small, intimate circle, just pre-race, high pressure moment, discussing the strategy, which James Vowles is responsible for. So for him, it's like very intense moment. And he faces the God, which is Michael Schumacher, to explain the strategy to Michael. And then comes my strategy. And 90% of the time when he spoke about my strategy, he was speaking about my strategy to Michael. Like I was not there. Like I was like hot air in the room. I was not there. Right. So he's discussing explaining my strategy, also focusing most of the time on Michael. But he didn't even realize. It's just because you have God in the room. Yeah. And so you're just consumed by that. And it was really hurtful for me though, because plus I was the guy getting more points for the team. I was in front in the championship.
I was
in front of the grid as well.
This is the interesting
I
point.
beat Michael most of the time, which was very important to my career. Yes, he wasn't at the peak of his powers anymore because he had retired and come back. Nevertheless, it was important for me to stay ahead. Anyway, so then after that, I went to James Vowles and I said, James, please, I deserve that you give me at least 50% of your attention in such strategy meetings, especially then when you're discussing my strategy also. I'm not sure if I was brave enough to say that hurt me. Probably not, I don't know. But I did say, I must have said it didn't feel nice to me that, you're just... And then James very kindly did pay attention next time and did address me appropriately, So that was a very nice example, an important example of progress in that sense.
Can I ask you about that period where you saw Michael doing things that were uncharacteristic? There was that moment where he braked and he hit someone in Barcelona, he got hit in
I know exactly
Singapore.
what that was. So he was, his peak was probably pretty similar still to his greatest, just that he struggled. A race driver's skill is the speed of adapting. We are super fast to adapt to new situations, new grip levels, because every lap is different in our world. The fuel is coming down, the grip is coming up. Every lap is different. And so you have to have an incredible ability to be present and adapt from corner to corner, lap to lap, all the time. It's never the same. And that was the area where Michael, that was the only area where you could see a little bit that he was not at his best anymore.
Yeah.
His ability to adapt to some things. And the best example was this DRS. He had never in his career had DRS, where you drop the rear wing and you suddenly go, it's like a turbo boost on the straights. You suddenly go 15 kilometers per hour quicker, which means that you get to that next corner in a way that you've never usually get there, because you're suddenly 15 kilometers quicker in a race only when you're overtaking someone. So he's doing the race, getting to that corner, always the same. And then suddenly he comes up to Bruno Senna. This is in Barcelona, and hits the DRS. And so his brain failed to remind him that this is a new situation. He's going to get to the same braking zone that he's come to the last 20 laps with 15 kilometers more speed. So you have to brake in a much earlier spot, because if you brake in the same spot, you're off.
Yeah.
And he braked in the same spot. So he took out Bruno Senna in front of him and had a massive crash, because that was the only little thing that he was worse at, I think, than in his peak career.
And did you see that he was accepting that, or that he maybe...
He was generally someone, I mean, he's very self-confident.
Yeah.
And also he's built so strongly on just passion for the sport. He just loved racing and loved the sport. So I'm sure it caused him mental struggles to be behind me and to be crashing. But I think he dealt with them very strongly. And in general still was enjoying the moment and the time. Largely, and much more than most others would be able to in that situation, because the media was bashing him pretty hard, because the media was expecting he's going to come to Mercedes and win the world championship.
Yeah.
And yet he came to Mercedes, was driving in 12th place, crashing and getting beaten by his no-name teammates.
Well, I was obviously working at that time.
You
wasn't I?
bashed him the most. I remember the headlines you were creating. I mean, it was just disrespectful. It was horrible. I mean, it was a disgrace.
I'll tell you what was a challenge for the media was that he at no time said, yeah, I think I'm struggling in areas. Every time something happened, he would go, well, it wasn't my fault. And I think that was
That's the weakness I told you before. The confident, the very most confident drivers, like a Verstappen, will question themselves less than someone like Lando Norris or myself, because they always think it's not my fault, I'm perfect. I'm exaggerating, but I'm perfect, it's the other guy. It must be the other guy's fault. This is exaggerating. And whilst we as like, oh, damn, I must not be good enough. It must be me. I need to improve. Where can I improve?
Yeah.
So it's like one of our superpowers as being more sensitive is pushing more and improving ourselves always.
As somebody that is empathetic and somebody that is willing to look at what you could do better.
But empathetic is when you're empathetic is you can be empathetic towards yourself. No,
Yeah.
Empathetic is
You can
about
still be
others.
kind
No,
towards yourself and
that's also
feel
empathy
emotions
towards yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But I'm interested in, how did you learn to trust people where you could share your fallibilities or where you could improve? Because it sounds like you're working in a world where people don't necessarily respect that or necessarily...
No, sure. You work with a brain doctor, you're a loser.
Yeah.
That's the credo in F1, or at least at my time. Huh?
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell anybody.
Did you not tell anyone that you were working with a psychologist? Or?
No.
So
I probably told my wife knew, because she saw how much time I was spending there. She didn't come to check if it was maybe a girl instead of a psychologist. But
Are you having an affair, or are you seeing a psychologist?
I spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time in that house. But we have a lovely relationship, so there's none of that.
What was the scariest moment, do you think?
The very scariest moment in my whole business life, which includes racing, would be the middle of the race in Abu Dhabi when I was 2016, where I was fighting for the championship in that race. And Lewis had been backing me up, and that resulted in me dropping behind Verstappen, who didn't pit stop yet. So I was behind him, And he was driving a fantastic race, as he does so often.
Success isn't just about one big headline moment, right? It's about the thousands of small victories happening every single day. And that's what Postcode Lottery is all about. Just by playing, you're making a real impact across communities, whether it's a breakfast club helping kids start their day with the fuel they need to learn, a youth program building confidence in young people, or mental health services supporting someone when they need it most. These are the moments that matter. These are the moments that make a real difference to real people. When you play the Postcode Lottery, you're not just supporting a lottery. You're helping fund these life-changing programs. You're part of a bigger movement of shared victories, of communities winning together. If you want to see how this funding is making a difference in communities, click the link in the description to learn more about powering hope together. Postcode Lottery manages lotteries for 20 charities. A minimum of 30% of each ticket price goes to charity. 18 plus conditions apply, not available in Northern Ireland. This is a paid advertisement by BetterHelp. I had a bit of a realization on one of the podcasts recently that we expect men to open up, but most of us had never actually been taught how to do that. We're told to just get on with it. Just keep moving, keep performing, don't make a fuss. And then at some point in your life, someone tells you to talk more and you're thinking, yeah, but I don't know how to do that. And I have had so many moments like this where I feel something building that no one sees, pressure, stress. You can't put your finger on what it is. You certainly can't say it out loud. And that was the thing that really landed for me recently in a conversation. It's not that men don't want to talk, it's that they don't always have the words to say what they need to say. And that's where something like therapy can change everything. We want to encourage men to say it louder and get comfortable opening up. It gives you a space to slow down, to understand what's going on, to actually learn how to express how you're feeling properly. So when life feels overwhelming, I know that therapy can help. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/performance. That's betterhelp.com/performance.
And so I was behind him, stuck. And the other guys were catching up from behind. And Lewis was disappearing. And then my engineer says to me on the radio, this is Tony Ross, Nico, you now have to pass Verstappen, otherwise you risk losing the world championship. This is like 20 years in the making, my childhood dream. And it was like, it was there for me to take it, you know? And now these totally unexpected, extreme circumstances of me dropping behind Verstappen, which normally was never going to happen because we were so much faster than them, then being stuck there. And at the time, he was still completely crazy. He's changed a lot now. You know, he's become much more measured, much more driving for the championship. At the time, Verstappen had nothing to lose. He was, 18 or 19 years old. And one knew that it was a 50-50% chance. If you try and battle with him, it's 50% crash, you're out. Or 50% or 25% you get past, or 25% you don't get past. It's like, so the odds were not really in my favor. And the engineer, Tony, says to me, you have to pass now within the next 2 laps. My goodness, that is like horrible. And so I went for this massive lunge, and then I'll be forever grateful Verstappen left some space. And we didn't collide, but he did hold on, and he was still in front of me by the time we got to the next corner. So I had to go for a second move. And by the time I got past, my foot, so I was so scared of losing my dream and of messing up and crashing that my foot started shaking, but so violently that it wasn't like a little vibration, yeah? It was a bouncing, which I'll never have again in my life.
Your accelerator
the
foot.
Accelerator foot. So I'll never have, because the accelerator, you're kind of, you're being precise with it. So when you try and be precise with your hands, you also see a shake coming, you know? So I'm trying to be precise, but it was shaking so violently, I'll never again have that in my whole life. Yep, no way. Yep. That I couldn't accelerate properly anymore because the foot was bouncing. And so then it obviously is a mental spiral, because then your head says, okay, my foot is bouncing so much that I can't drive anymore. So then the foot just bounces double as much. So, and just luckily, I got through this sequence of corners with a bouncing foot, Verstappen still staying behind me somehow. And then I got to the straight. The next part was a straight. And so I could push the whole leg through. So normally you accelerate with your foot. And here I used my whole leg to push it through into the throttle pedal. And somehow it then did full throttle. So I was driving down
like a reset moment.
Just driving down the straight like that. And that was enough that by the time I got to the next corner, my foot slightly calmed again, which then your head says, okay, maybe it's not as bad as it looked. And so I just managed to somehow get my foot into a state where I could drive the car again. So that was my worst ever.
Wow.
Would you take us to that moment when, like, you get that call over the radio from Tony that says you have to do this, and what was going through your head at that moment?
I'm gonna lose this again, like I always did in my career.
So that was
my mind telling me that. Can it be possible that I lose this? Because I most of the time against Lewis, I always finished second in F1, and in the 3 years before that, I finished one spot behind him or whatever, and then second in the championship. And against him, it was the same in go-karting. I finished second, he finished first. So my mind was telling me, no, this is not possible. I'm gonna lose this again, and that's horrible, And all the I had a psychologist I was working with, and all the work I did, but it's hard to completely transform your instinctive thoughts, And in that moment, in the heat of the moment, my brain was telling me, no way, I'm losing this again, and that's horrible.
Yeah.
So you were aware that these automatic negative thoughts were kicking in. What did you do to try and override it, or did you just surrender to it?
So I worked because I'm someone in today's world. It's a bit like Lando Norris. Lando Norris, it's always glass half empty.
Yeah.
When he does pole position with an amazing lap, he will talk about not how great the lap was, but about the one corner where he could have done better. Oh yeah, I mean, that one corner I could have done better. You're on pole position. Like, talk about how amazing you just did. No, that one corner, I felt that I messed that one up, and I could have done better. And because Lando Norris is someone, he has a lot of self-doubt, and so he's not the super confident Verstappen type, and I'm like that as well. And there's benefits, there's pros and cons to being like that. On the one hand, it makes the struggle a bit more real because you have more of a mental battle going on there. I'm not good enough. I'm going to lose, or whatever. But the strength is that you question yourself a lot more because you're not arrogant. You think, how can I do better? I need to do better. So you question yourself a lot more, and you're generally also very sensitive to all little details. So it's like there's a pro and con to being this kind of character.
So where did that come from? Because I'm quite taken when you were describing your dad when he was managing drivers. You said you looked at these guys like gladiators, superhumans. So it sounds to me like you identified them as being different than you, and yet you entered that world. So where did that conditioning come from to believe that you weren't quite good enough, or to believe that...
There's a lot of genetic in that, I think, because it's as long as I can remember that I'm a little bit that kind of profile of person. Very like in school, like the most shy person the world's ever seen, in my point of view. I was,
Really?
I couldn't even speak to girls, like it was impossible. Or speak out in front of class. My whole body was shaking. It was like really like very great, less than average self-confidence, certainly. Right. And I think another thing that probably adds to it is that my father is very different to me. He is. Many of the older people listening to this will remember him. He's like macho. Cigarette in the race car,
old school
flicking
F1.
it out, putting the visor down, pedal to the metal, and real like
a man's man.
Yeah, exactly. So he's very different to me. I'm more like my mom in that sense, and like for me that was kind of the stereotype of how a race driver had to be when I was growing up. That's all I knew, how a race driver had to be. And then also me realizing that I'm so different probably added to this what we're talking about.
So I wonder whether now that you can...
So I wanted to be like, I told my dad recently, I always wanted to be more like you.
And did you ever try to be?
Well, you can't, it's genetic.
Yeah.
So,
but did you try and fight?
You know what the funniest answer that he gave me? It was like one of our really personal conversations where we sat down for an hour and really went deep and just spoke openly, which you rarely do, but it's like such a powerful thing to do with your dearest friends or family, to take the time, sit down 1 hour and be brave, because it's scary. Be brave to open up and to discuss deeply things that are worrying us or things that we're struggling with or whatever in our relationship. So hard to do. So I did that with my dad just as a nice thing.
What was the catalyst to do that?
I think just me being brave and wanting to make sure that I get that covered with my father, and not miss out on having such a deep conversation. And it was right after I retired, just to go through it all again. And so I said to him, I wish I was more like you. And my dad's answer was, well, I always wished I was more like you.
And
because he's very impulsive, which creates a lot of problems because he doesn't like take a time to think about it. He's like, boom, react. Feel angry, react.
Right.
And I'm super different. I feel, take time, think, rational, act.
And how did you feel when
so
you
he's
heard
like,
that?
I wish I was more like you. And then we came to the conclusion that, okay, yeah, I mean, middle ground would probably be the ideal place to be in, which for me was an eye-opener. You know, I was like, wow, okay, so he wants to be more like me.
But how did that make you feel? Like you've obviously spent
amazing.
a life aspiring to be in.
It was a very, that was really, was a good moment for me as well to realize that he too wanted to be, it's not just me, you know, and he too wants to be, because each of us has our struggles in our different ways, you know, and probably middle ground would be the best way to be as a
Have
personality.
you had that conversation with your mum as well?
With my mom, it's generally just more easy. She's just a happy-go-lucky person. So I do sometimes, but she. So yeah, we do a little bit, yeah, sometimes, but not in a profound way like that. But from time to time, yeah.
Because you've used a few like quite strong words there, like it destroyed me, and like some of those examples as an empathetic person sound pretty horrendous. But what did you learn about yourself? Because it didn't destroy you.
Oh, yeah, difficult one. I mean, I learned that I'm training my body 5 hours a day, and I'm not training my mind. I'm training my mind 0 hours a day. I'm feeling that there's room for a lot of progress.
Right.
So why am I not training my mind? So that's what pushed me to look for a psychologist and a sports mental coach, psychologist, and even philosophist. Is it a
philosopher.
So I covered the whole thing, and I went all in on this. And this was one of the greatest discoveries of my life. Like, my goodness, this is huge.
Go on, tell us more.
So I was very lucky. I found this quite elder man who used to coach the French national team for skiing, and he lived here in the area. Now he lives right next door. Found him through good fortune, and he accepted me, and then we went through the motions. And I worked 2 hours every 2 days with him. So 2 hours every 2 days. It's harder than any physical training was, to be there, be present, be focused mentally onto everything we're discussing, practicing meditation, practicing visualization, repetitions, breathing, studying philosophy. Yeah? Why am I scared? Why am I jealous? Why are we humans? All of our basic needs. Yeah. So I learned that to be happy and content, we need progress. Yeah. We need to grow as humans. So you need to learn something. You need to push yourself. That's our way to being happy and content. You need to do something significant. Yeah. Where you get appreciation from others also around you, you know, so you need to be doing something significant. And so really understanding all of that, it just helps so much in then also understanding that you can't necessarily switch off these instinctive emotions. That's really hard. That's like Dalai Lama level. So you'll always feel fear, but what you can really powerfully do is adapt your reactions to it. You know, if you don't, like my father, feel fear, boom, react, boom, knock him out or whatever. No, that's not what my dad did, but kind of. But actually take a moment, think about what you're feeling and react much more appropriately. That will have a snowball effect. You can adapt your reactions to things by learning, by understanding. That's huge for life.
So can you tell us an example there where you took that learning of just practicing a pause and it actually manifested itself in your career?
In racing, where I took a step back and thought about it before reacting impulsively. Do you know what the big problem is? That most of the difficult things happen on track, and you come out the car and you do not have that moment to think about things because you guys shoved a microphone in my face right after I got out of the car. I didn't have time to speak to anybody that I trusted about anything. Microphone straight in my face, and I cannot say to you, no comment. I need to think about it. You can't say that. You need to engage. And that made it very hard. And that's where Lewis was so amazingly good in those instinctive, immediate, reactive answers. He was so spot on every time. And I was lost. I was always saying the wrong thing, because you can the truth, you can talk about it like that or like that. You can talk about it. Lando did a great lap. He can say I did the best lap of my life, or I messed up turn 10. Both is the same truth, very different ways of talking about it.
Yeah.
And Lewis was just amazing at when you get that microphone in your face, saying exactly the right thing. And I was really bad at that. I was not good. So I made a lot of mistakes, and that caused difficulties. So didn't have too much of the opportunity to really take a moment when things happen in the racetrack, which was that was a weakness of mine.
In 400 interviews, we've met lots of incredible performers like yourself that have spoken about the mental game and using psychologists and some of the techniques that you just described. I don't think we've ever heard anyone talk about using a philosopher, though. Would you describe a little bit about what that entailed and on the benefits of it?
It's about understanding us humans and understanding what are our needs. Why are we scared? Why are we jealous? Why do we need recognition from others? So it's really about understanding, and then specifically myself as a personality, because it's all so much of our struggles are a lack of understanding. So much of our struggles in relationships are we do not understand the other person. What is his needs? What is his goals? And if you don't understand, it's very difficult then to find an agreement or come to middle ground,
Yeah.
And it's the same with myself. I need to, it really is so powerful to understand myself better.
Yeah.
And that's where philosophy just comes in a lot to really understand us as humans. How are we made? Like what are our needs and thoughts and all that? Because there's geniuses in the past who have already gone through anything that we ever will experience. There's geniuses in the past who've already had that, and they have written it down in a very profound, thoughtful way, in a way that allows us to understand. So it's all there. And there's nothing new that we will experience that a genius in the past hasn't already. All these great thought leaders of the past, So it's all there. So it's all there for us to just read through it and understand, and it's super insightful.
And was there any one philosopher that resonated with you? Sorry.
It was a mix, because my philosopher was actually the guy I was with, and he was a philosopher himself who there's these German guys like Schopenhauer, Nietzsche, and all these people, and he. Or even Freud and all these guys. So he kind of consolidated thoughts from all of these, and he also liked the Greeks a lot. So he brought everything together in his own way. He created his own mixture, and he was teaching me essentially.
And is there a line or like a particular mantra from that still resonates with you today?
Oh man, now I need to think of that. A line or mantra. What something for me today is, but it's not really philosophy. It's more psychology now. Again, it's like I love to. I'm now super brave. Yeah, whenever there's a situation where I feel like, oof, this is going to be difficult mentally. I could not care less. I'm just because I know that it's so valuable for my life to just go right into it, whatever it is. Going up to a person I look up to in a conference, and there's thousands of people who want to speak to him and who are around, and I politely push my way through and just stand right in front and say, "Hey, do you have 10 seconds for me?" or whatever, And I would never have been able to do that 30 years ago, ever. But and it's still then scary in that moment because you have a fear of being rejected. And I just had that 2 weeks ago at a conference. The person looked at you all have your badges.
Yeah.
Looked at my badge. It said Nico Rosberg, Rosberg Ventures. So the person, that it was really important to me to speak to this person, stared at my badge, looked up at me and said, sorry, I have to go.
Oh no.
Full on, like the biggest rejection. but I could not care less.
Yeah.
Like, could not care less.
But
So I'm
see-
just super brave now because I know how valuable it is to be brave and push into this discomfort and just keep going, and who cares. And so that's a big learning and change that's happened in my life as a result of all these insights and as a result of my sport and understanding that that's so important to do that. And that's what I'm trying to teach my kids.
46% of people have hidden cardiovascular risk that they have no idea about. That's what Do Health have found. But thankfully, I'm not one of them. And I only know this because I recently took the Do Health blood test. People in my family have had issues with their heart in the past.
So my results showed that my ApoB is optimal. So ApoB estimates the amount of cholesterol-carrying particles moving around your body. The more you have, the more chance there is for cholesterol to settle. The good news is mine's optimal.
But I also love the fact that I've now been given a plan from Do Health. So I need to drink more water, I need to take more steps, and I really need to focus on my sleep so that I know in 4 months when I take the test again, hopefully my stats and my data will have improved. This is all about getting in front of health, not reacting to it. If you're interested, check out dohealth.co/high performance and use the code high performance and see what's really going on inside your body.
I'm trying to teach my kids because they're scared of every new situation. They're scared of going to a new ballet class. They're scared of taking on guitar lessons. They're scared of performing with a band, even though they would love to do that. And I know they love to do that. It's their dream to perform in a band. And they're scared to do day one. So I'm always trying to repeat to them how important it is to be brave, because it's actually what you want to do. And if you do it on the 10th day, it's going to be easy. It's just the first day that's hard. The second day gets easier, third day easier. Repetition makes anything easier. And I'm trying to teach that to them and also show them how that in a way that I do it, although there's not many great examples now anymore. Oh, no, I use my F1 examples actually. So I show them the videos and I talk them through it and how tough it was and how brave I was. And then I got better and better and easier. And at the end I won. So I do use those examples and I try to teach them that, the importance of being brave, pushing yourself into discomfort, because that's where you grow. It's where you find joy. You become proud of yourself. Super important.
But tell us about how you learned to trust people to be able to share. So, because you have to unburden yourself in such a stressful
I've
world.
learned to trust. I didn't share. I didn't share with anybody. I shared with my wife and the coach, and that was kind of it. No,
but I mean, like when you're working for Williams, like when you're going into the team, how did you learn to be able to talk about getting better? How did you learn to talk about your failures in a race without worrying it was going to expose you?
But I only talked about that to my coach, not to Williams.
So you never spoke within the team about the challenges you had or your doubts or your fears?
No.
See, that must have felt
Zero.
lonely though.
Yeah, that is not nice. That's why also it's so important for us to be brave and actually try to be as authentic as possible and talk about those difficulties, learning struggles. Yeah, because it helps us. It helps so much, I think. But I failed to do that at the time because I wasn't brave enough and I didn't understand.
Was it lonely?
Of course. Then when the gladiators are circling around you, not the gladiators, the army generals, the army generals are circling around you and you're alone in the middle. That's not easy. Yeah, that's tough. When it's just me alone.
Because
I was the army generals, 3 of them. It was 3 of them.
Patrick,
Frank, and San Michael.
and Sam. Because I was at an event recently, and Lando Norris was there.
Yeah.
And we had a 2-minute chat. I said, "How's life?" And he went, "Lonely."
That's typical. Yeah. Because of course, he has amazing moments also in his life, but he will focus on the turn 10 where he messed up, or the last week where he had one lonely day or whatever, But he also, he says that he has a lot of that mental health is a big thing for Lando because he generally has some challenges there. And
did it ever affect your mental health, do you think?
So that's funny because all the struggles, it does somehow, looking back in general, which is interesting, it still stays somehow quite superficial and doesn't have a profound traumatic, because now I look back and I'm not traumatized from all the struggles, which were, the foot shaking with first, that's like that's a deep fear and struggle at that moment. Like to get your body to do that, you got to be pretty scared. You got to be pretty deeply scared. Now looking back though, it's not, didn't traumatize me. So somehow, strangely enough, it seems that all that stayed quite superficial, which is good.
Are you grateful for the fact
But I also won at the end, which if I wouldn't have won, I would be sitting here probably very, very different because then I would consider myself the forever loser. And that probably would have a more profound traumatic impact on my mental well-being for the rest of my life, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah. So, because your identity becomes what you're doing. Your identity is you're this amazing host, for the various topics you're taking on this show and everything. And your identity is being one of the greatest book authors in the world on human performance and micro habit experts and all that. And you become that person, And if you suddenly write 4 books and each of them fail completely and literally only 50 people buy them, you will start to think about yourself as a loser. Because even though it's just something you do, but because everybody else is judging you by that, and it has a strong impact on your thinking. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Well, yeah and no. But I'm intrigued in terms of that because I'm thinking that as a guy that overcame so many of these obstacles, to even be in this paddock, when you said that you're looking at these supermen, these gods around you, and you're then finding yourself beating them, you've already won. So I'm intrigued as to why that fixation of like becoming a world champion suddenly changed the idea that you weren't a loser, because you obviously weren't a loser even if you hadn't won the title, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's always glass half empty, which I am as a personality. So even if I win the Monaco Grand Prix 3 times in a row, but I still am behind Lewis once again in the championship, then I'll pick that out.
Right.
It's like when I have 100 people cheering for me on the grandstand, 2 people booing ferociously, I will only notice the 2 people booing and focus on that.
Yeah, but I think that's your superpower. I think that's the reason
it's a struggle,
why.
But it's also a superpower, as I mentioned. Yeah,
correct.
Because it,
But then you use that. You told us that lovely story when you came here this morning that you brought your kids to school, you're walking along the beach, and you had that appreciation and that gratitude for where you were.
Yeah, so gratitude is one of the most powerful things you can do for happiness in life. It's being grateful, being present and grateful. And it's actually something I'm so bad at doing. So this was surprising that I mentioned this now because the situation we're in here in Monaco, I do then take time to realize and appreciate, and that's really important.
But did you do that when you were racing?
No, not enough.
Right.
That's something that I failed. I would now, going back, I would do that a lot more. Although I did cover that. You know what? I even was grateful for fear. So in my meditation, I was doing that. In my meditation, from my psychologist, I learned the importance that to keep repeating, to be grateful even for fear and failure. So to be grateful for failure, because failure is your greatest opportunity to grow as a human being and to get faster and better. It's in failure. If you don't fail, you will not get faster. You will not get better. You will not become a greater race car driver if you don't fail. It's in mistakes where you make the most progress. And so I even spent a lot of time repeating to myself, being grateful for mistakes or possible mistakes to come. And that helps to reduce also the fear around them and the suffering from them.
Yeah.
So I remember losing the second world championship to Lewis 2015. And then I was sitting in my hotel room, kind of locked myself in my hotel room. Horrible suffering, losing again, and I lost it by making a mistake. So I was leading the race. I made a mistake.
Which race?
Austin. And that handed him on a silver platter the world championship.
Well, I don't remember.
I made a mistake, went off the track on my own. And I said in the media it was a gust of wind, which it was actually, but you just cannot say that. No one believes you. So again, my spontaneous answer was just rubbish. Should not say that. Just say made a mistake and then move on. Anyways, and so sitting in the hotel room, again, repeating to myself, this is your chance It's horrible. It feels horrible. But this is your chance to grow even more and to use this failure as your driving force, as your motivation to be even more dedicated. And I won 7 races in a row after that. One of the greatest winning streaks in the history of Formula One against Lewis. So 7 races in a row. And that went into my World Championship season where I won the first 4 races. So the last 3, first 4, and that was the launch pad to my World Championship year. So from that moment, 7 races in a row, because I was so damn crazy, motivated in the details like never before in my life.
I really want to talk then about the 2016 season. The greatest, but maybe also the toughest season of your career?
With the first. So first and last.
First and last. So you talked about you became crazy.
And not even the beginning of the last. It's the moment where you become the favorite to win the World Championship.
Right.
That's where it becomes tough.
Okay, take us to that moment. When was the moment that you became the favorite and what was the impact on you?
So the moment I became the favorite was after there was Malaysia, where I had quite a big points gap, and then but it was still 5 races to go. And so then came Suzuka, and it was only like 20 something points at that point, which is not much when it's 5 races to go.
Yeah.
And then came Suzuka, and I don't know how I was even able to perform under that fear, because qualifying lap, my hands are shaking. Yeah.
Why?
And because I'm scared of messing up and losing my dream.
Because you know it's now so close. You're now the favorite.
Yeah, because I'm at 20 points ahead in the championship and there's only 5 races to go.
Yeah.
And so it's mine to lose kind of already at that point, you know? So it's so scary, my goodness, because it's if I don't make a mistake, I'm world champion. So you're just so scared to mess up and make a mistake.
Exhausting.
And let's remember, it's hard to drive these race cars on the limit and do well, yeah? It's super hard to be on the edge with these race cars and not make a mistake. As you can see on television, all these guys are making mistakes all the time. It's just super hard. And qualifying Suzuka, it's the last lap. You're only 1 lap that decides it. It's 1 lap, and it's so hard to do a perfect lap. It's incredibly hard. Suzuka, high-speed corners, to nail that, it's super crazy hard. Hardest thing I'll probably do in my life, I think, in business-wise, is to drive this race car well. And then hands shaking and thoughts messing with your mind. Don't mess up. I'm gonna mess up.
I live it.
During the qualifying lap, where you have to be 100% focused. So the mind is going in and out from being super intensely focused to trying to take you out of that all the time with the fear.
Yeah.
So it's like a bouncing in and out. And I don't know how. I mean, fortunately, I'm gifted with a great natural talent. But somehow, even in that mental state, and let's remember, I worked so hard mentally. So if I wouldn't have done that, I would have been much worse. So I've done all this preparation so that in the craziest high pressure moments, my mind was 10% calmer, 10% more focused, 10% better performing than if I wouldn't have done all that crazy work for 10 years.
Would you have won the world championship?
No way. 0%.
Without that?
0%. 0-0, because it all came down to the last lap of the last corner, and my mind definitely gave me at least 1% better performance, and it all came down to the last lap. It was 1 second that decided everything, because it was 1 second between the 4 cars. We finished Abu Dhabi, 1 second, 4 cars, 4 cars within 1 second. And if I would have finished last of the 4 cars, championship was for Lewis. If I finished in front of, not last of the 4 cars, the championship was mine, and it was 1 second. So tiny lockup, and that's already finished. It's just one little lockup, and it's done, because you lose half a second, you're then last. So I was there on pole position because of 5 little improvements that I had put together during that season. First one, or actually the first one happened 3 years ago already, in 2014. My helmet, you'll see it's pure carbon black, because I figured out that the paint was 80 grams. So I chopped out the paint, because 1 kilogram of our body weight, including helmet, overall, whatever, was 0.03 of a second per lap slower. Crazy, huh? So just 1 kilogram. I mean, take a kilogram, and this car weighs 700 kilos. 1 kilogram resulted in every lap 0.03 of a second slower. Calculated from the simulation, from the computer. Is that nuts? And it is factually true, because we also know that 10 kilograms of fuel is always 0.3 of a second per lap. Yeah, so we know that. No? 10 kilograms fuel is 0.3, which is a lot. Huh? 1 kilogram, 300. That's 2 seconds of race time. Very often the difference between winning and losing, because Lewis and I were always stacked up in our gearboxes, crossing the finish line most of the time. So it's the difference, winning or losing. 1 kilogram. So what I do? Helmet paint. Then I did. What else did I do? Oh, I chopped Swiss holes in my seat in the non-structural areas, which was another tens of grams, whatever. But now I'm already past 100 grams.
Yeah.
It was, and then finally it was also. I was like really great cyclist, and I stopped cycling because the leg muscles are one of the heaviest parts of our body. So I stopped cycling because I spoke to my doctors, and they said, you'll probably drop at least 500 grams if you stop cycling, and if you do running and walking instead. So I stopped cycling, and in fact, I was on the scales, and I did drop more than 500 grams by the time I got to Suzuka, because it was during the season that I stopped the cycling. So Suzuka, by the time I got to Suzuka, cumulatively, I had dropped 1 kilo, and I was on pole by 200s.
Oh man,
that was the 1 kilo.
Brilliant.
And that's what got me the world championship. So that was also something that I was just very good at understanding how to get from A to B, where to put my focus and energy, and even sometimes into the details. When you know that 5 details make a big improvement, then you gotta focus also on those details. You cannot let them. You cannot neglect them, because then you're missing out on a big improvement against your competitor. Then I won the race, even though I was shaking in qualifying, and I finished that qualifying 200ths of a second in front of Lewis on pole position, 200ths, whilst shaking hands. Huh? Everybody has the shaking hands, by the way. Every driver will, because it's adrenaline, it's everything. But maybe I had a little bit more than most others in that moment. So shaking hands, and then finished qualifying 200ths of a second in front, which I don't know how. Even looking back now, I don't know how I'm able to perform that well in such a situation. So got pole position. Even there, my third pole position in a row on Suzuka track, which is also pretty cool because it's one of the greatest tracks in the world. And the next day, great start under the pressure, and won the race. And then I was far ahead in the points because I was 30 plus points ahead. 4 races to go. All I had to do was finish second, third. See, I still remember all these details because it was big at the time for me personally. So that was now solidly, I am the big favorite because I don't have to win any races anymore. Just second, third is enough. So that's like big favorite. That then the world pressure feeling wise comes onto the shoulders because now it's only mine to lose. Don't even have to win a race anymore. It's just mine to lose. Yeah. All I have to do is bring it home. Oh, that's a nutcase intensity on the shoulders. And that's why in sports, you have so many comeback stories. Because when the guy in tennis has won the first 2 sets, he's the big favorite, it's his to lose, that's when the shakes start.
Look at last season in Formula 1. Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Max was miles behind.
That is when the shakes start. Yeah. The hand in tennis starts to shake. You can't play anymore as well as you were in the first 2 sets where there was like, you're not favored yet,
But this was
that's when the comeback comes. And then the other guy totally relaxed because actually the match is lost.
Yeah.
He has nothing to lose anymore. The match is already lost anyways. He's 2 sets behind. Nothing to lose. So relax. Let's just go for it.
Yeah.
And then Max Verstappen drives the second season of his life. I mean, he did a performance that maybe we've never ever seen in the history of the sport with the car that he did against the McLarens. Yeah. Who definitely had a much better car.
Because he had freedom and they had fear.
Completely relaxed, enjoying himself, having fun, nothing to lose. He's already won 4 world championships against Lando, who is now, or Oscar, who's like the favorite, then Lando, who's the favorite, who are up, like their dream, maybe winning the first championship, maybe their only championship, because the regs are changing. You never know if you have another car that will be up for winning a championship. And then, of course, you get this insane comeback story. That's why in sports you have so many comeback stories.
Yeah.
So what you're describing there is like the difference between a challenge and a threat state. So when you see it as a challenge, you've got the adrenaline that works in your favor. When it's a threat, it starts making the handshake.
Yeah.
Did you make a deliberate change in your mental strategy then to be able to cope with with that changing status from it being a challenge to now
But
being
in the
seen as a
moment,
threat?
I never managed to help to do something for in the moment. Yeah, when I'm in the race car and I suddenly feel a surge of threat or fear, I didn't manage to. There is techniques, it's called stop thinking. That was the one which is a short movement that you do. It's like a flick of a finger, which brings you back into this state of presence.
Yeah.
It's kind of a micro meditation. So there is that technique, but I never managed to implement that. So because you essentially where you need to get to in meditation is also these micro meditations throughout your whole day.
Yeah.
Great presence to what you're feeling. Whenever you feel difficult feelings coming up or emotions, you can flick and it's like present again. Be aware of your emotions, even appreciate your emotions, and that just helps them. That helps calm them down, and you're present again, taking in, and you're not, because when you get these strong emotions, you kind of like go into this rabbit hole and you spiral into these emotions and you block out suddenly everything else in life, and you're like, and you need to flick and come back out of there and be aware. But I didn't manage to do that in the race car.
I mean, it's when we've now sat and spoken for the last hour, it now almost makes perfect sense at the moment Nico crossed the line in that last race in Abu Dhabi. You can actually fully understand why he went, great, I'm done.
Well, I can, but there's a few intriguing bits that you've told us earlier. So you've spoken about your dad was the kind of man that would feel an emotion and then act, whereas you were somebody that had learned to create that buffer between the emotion and the decision. And yet you said when the moment you crossed, you decided, I'm finished.
Yeah, I decided, that was the instinctive decision, but I still then took 2 days to think about it. No?
So tell us about those 2 days.
It's extreme. I mean, for everybody listening, it would be comparable to you tomorrow, without planning for it, you walk out of the door from your job and you never go back.
Yeah.
That's hard, because what's coming next in life, and of course, I have to say that I have the huge advantage that I had financial security, which is very different, I understand, than many people. And that's just because I'm lucky. I chose something where there's a lot of money involved. But so that struggle I did not have, because I didn't need to worry, how do I pay my mortgage next month? Yeah. Which is usually the biggest worry.
No, but that does work both ways, because you're also walking away from such a huge job, such a privileged position. So there's also that.
No, sure,
well.
but still people will, or you guys will be able to relate, and everybody can relate, that if you, without planning, walk out from your job tomorrow, it's scary, because you have no clue what to do with the rest of your life. I mean, what are you going to do? Yeah. Sit at home and lawn the mown? No, what is it called?
Mow the lawn.
Mow the lawn.
Mow the lawn.
So that's really scary. Wow.
Yeah. So take us into those 2 days.
It's the non-obvious choice, because the obvious choice, I mean, I had a contract for more years, could have earned 100 million more easily, very quickly, been in the best, continue to be in the best race car, win more races. So it's not the obvious choice, but for me, again, the rational side came in there as well. I believe that for me, I achieved my goal, so that's clear. That's a tick. And I believe that for me, it would be critical to leave at the peak of the Mount Everest for the rest of my life. I think I really did not want to end up in a situation where my career spirals downward, and I'm going from worse to worse. I get fired from one team. The young guy destroys me in another, and then finally end up getting sent home. Like some other drivers have experienced, some other amazing drivers, some of the greatest drivers in the world have experienced in the last years. That is not something that I wanted to ever experience, because that's horrible. Because you go from king to getting fired and sent home and not wanted anymore because you're just not good enough anymore. That's like, wow, no, that's not good for mental health for the rest of your life, I felt. So I definitely want to avoid that. And then, achieve the dream. I threw more than 100% into it. So I felt I couldn't do another year like that. That was like, it's so damn extreme. Every minute of breathing, was around being the 110 best that I could be in every sense of the word, to win the world championship. And that's not sustainable to live life like that. That was pretty extreme. So I didn't really want to keep going like that either. And of course, it added in also that the environment within the team was it's very hard. and it's unusual when you have your enemy within your own family. You know, it's like Prost and Senna.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me make sure not to compare to them, but because it's very different, and I don't want to compare us to them because they are, you know, the greatest rivalry in the sport ever. But in a way, it is comparable in the sense that they had two number one drivers. How long did they last? I mean, they lasted 2 years, and then they were done because it's just not an enjoyable situation internally. Because even the team, when you win, they can never really celebrate with you because they need to stay neutral because the other guy lost.
Yeah.
When you win, the other guy lost.
Yeah,
so it's not like, so it's super hard. The importance of the team to stay neutral at all times. They can never show favoritism. It's a whole different dynamic. And like if you have a Verstappen dynamic where there's a number two driver, the whole team is just for you, rooting for you, cheering with you. You're one. You know, you're one family. I think it's probably a very different experience and much more wonderful experience and enjoyable experience than when your enemy is in your same garage, in your same engineering room all day long, all day. The team can never be on your side. They have to stay neutral. Yep. Even when you win, they got to stay reserved. Toto, when Lewis wins, he could not scream and go crazy when I lost the race. When I'm second, he needs to celebrate. Great, we got the win, but the other guy lost and finished second. So let's keep it a bit mellow. Like
so hard, I think.
I don't want to show that I'm happier or cheering more when Lewis wins compared to when he wins. And because otherwise, or when I win and Toto would scream, Lewis's fan base would go berserk on social media the next day. Oh, look at the Austrian cheering for the German. I'm sure he's sabotaging Lewis's car. There's all that. It's horrible. So he has to also stay neutral, measured, and it's painful.
So I get those emotions, and I get a lot of the logic that you've described. I'm interested if you take us into that 2-day period between having the emotion and then making the biggest decision of your life. How did you come to it? Who did you speak to?
Nobody actually. I just told my wife Vivian. She didn't really believe me at first. I didn't believe myself.
Right.
Told her. She was pretty neutral. She just said, do whatever you feel like, which was really nice. She was really neutral. She was like, do what you feel like doing, which was cool. Super neutral. That was it. Didn't talk to anybody. Not even my dear mental coach, psychologist. Didn't consult him either. Just made the decision and went with it. And pretty scary. Had a few moments of crying. I'm built a bit near the water, so I have I sometimes cry. So I had a few moments of crying.
About what?
Yeah. It's too much. Like, the load, and then this decision stopping your career. I don't know anything else in my life. My whole life I've been the race car driver. Since I'm 9 years old, I've been the race car driver. Don't know anything else. So it's huge. And then coming off the intensity, of the season, the body kind of like caves in. It's like going from 1,000 to 0, and then with such a big decision. So there was some moments of so just took the 2 days just to be sure, and then I started telling people about it, and then went with it.
And the feeling when it was public that the decision was made?
Yeah, it was
relief.
No, it was. I was good. I was also happy that the public didn't completely it was like 50-50. There was a lot of some people who actually were like, okay, I understand. Some people who even celebrated it. Because it's so rare that someone leaves at the top, and it's something that people do respect when leaders or whatever do have their greatest achievement and then call it a day. So there was a lot of support also, and that was very important to me and nice to see. Yeah. Of course, a load of people also criticizing, but it was quite balanced, so that also helped me a lot. It was not just everybody bashing me, like, what an idiot, were you crazy? That was cool. And of course, my dad was disappointed a lot because he was my number one fan. So he would have loved to have seen me continue driving.
Did he try and talk you out of it?
He was quite strong in saying, are you crazy, or what the hell are you doing? Or so he was quite firm in his view. So I was very much lost because you stop, you have no idea what's next in life. You're just lost. So my approach was speak to as many inspirational people as possible, try and get insights, ideas, and just go for it and try things. So I had an electric racing team. We were 2-time world champion with that actually in Extreme E. So that was cool.
Beat Lewis's team.
Beat Lewis's team. And then 1 year he beat us. So we had 2, he had 1 championship. That was funny.
Yeah.
Going racing again as team owners against Lewis. That was quite funny. So that was called Extreme E. Then after that, I built a sustainability festival. We were 15,000 participants. So that went well. That was Berlin. But it was not really my end result somehow. Huh? And then I got into startup investing and I went deeper and deeper into that. And this has become my North Star in business now. I've stopped everything else. So I'm just a startup investor now and I've built my own fund. So it's really several different approaches and products essentially that we're building, and the company is Rosberg Ventures. And within 3 years, we've already raised $210 million now. So it's really going fast, and we're really getting access to the greatest opportunities in the world of startups. And there's the obvious cases also, which is the SpaceX, the Anthropic. You know, we have significant exposure also to those. So we're investing indirectly or directly in all those examples. So it's become a super success, and I'm really energized. I'm loving it. We're a great team. I have a team of 6. We're a team of 6 doing nothing else, constantly in the US as well, because unfortunately that's one of the places where it happens most.
As somebody that is curious and has sort of gone and explored different avenues since you finished, what is it about the world of startups that attracted you?
It's I can really relate with the founders because they are living the lives of a high performance athlete.
Yeah.
It's the same. They are relentlessly committed. I mean, their desire to win is off the charts.
Right.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. How powerfully they are pushing towards winning. Yeah. It's completely the same as a high performance athlete.
Okay.
Really identical. Then their struggles also, because they are failing all the time on the way to winning. Yeah, and they have to transform their company because the first idea completely fails. They have to start from scratch, rebuild, reposition the whole team into a new direction, and they're constantly failing, and sometimes in big ways.
Right.
And they need to just not accept and relentlessly fight through these failures on their way to victory. So it's like 1-to-1. It's exactly the same. It's so comparable. So I love seeing these founders, create their success. And also very often I can give my input, especially on the human performance front. Not on which person to hire so much or what business, how to pivot the business or whatever, but very much on the human performance front. They, of course, respect me a lot, and we have wonderful conversations, and really helpful conversations.
Because I was going to ask about the dynamic of the relationship, because of both an investor and a mentor.
Yeah.
Which one do you find most comfortable?
Well, the one where I'm at home is speaking about how I overcame my failures and my struggles towards victory, and how I worked on these details, marginal gains and the psychology behind it and the discipline and all that, and that really resonates with them. And we have wonderful conversations around that where they can always take something away, and I take things away from it as well. And so that's really really valuable. So I love how these guys, they have an idea, they're sitting in their living room with an idea, and 10 years later they've changed the world and impacted our lives.
Very cool.
It's incredible, whether it's Uber or Airbnb, everything started with an idea.
Yeah.
Airbnb, they rented out a mattress in their living room to a friend who paid for staying on the mattress in the living room, because there was a conference in town where the friend didn't have a place to stay because the hotels were booked out. That was the birth of Airbnb.
Yeah.
And it's just an idea, and these guys are just geniuses. They're generational founders, leaders, and it's just amazing. And what captured me from a second direction then is that you can make the best performing asset class for wealth also from the startup world. If you invest across hundreds of startups in a very smart way into the best founders, the best opportunities, it really de-risks the whole asset class, and it generates an incredible performance. So there's an opportunity if you build the right access with time, and very few people, it's a little club. It's a very small club. Very few people are let into this club. If you manage to work your way into this club because you're adding value, you're helping, you're building, your value add, and you become respected. If you get into that club, you can build an incredibly performing asset class for your wealth as well. Not only your wealth, that of your friends, other families, or wealth. Let's say savings. And that's the trajectory that I'm on now. And performances are now amazing the way we are performing. So we can't even welcome people that want to invest with us anymore because we're like full since a long time now. So many people are wanting to and like asking, and this is amazing. It's amazing to be in that position, even though sometimes it's difficult to decline. But so it's going super well. Super performances and very exciting.
Right, some quickfire questions,
Yeah.
Nico. What are the 3 non-negotiable behaviors that you think are most important in life?
Behaviors? Is discipline a behavior?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, discipline. Discipline. Then it's something in terms of relationships. So it's is it caring or is
vulnerability
it
or
no? But care for your dearest.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's friends, family, because it has a big impact on your own life as well. If you're able to build great relationships, those are fundamental importance for a well-being for our own lives. Is to have great relationships and friends and family and wonderful moments with them.
And the third one?
So caring. And the third one, I'll go for the take on challenges, compete.
Yes.
Go for the wins.
Very good.
What advice would you give a teenage Nico?
A teenager?
What advice would you give a teenage you?
Oh, teenage me? Be more brave. Be more brave and push harder into discomfort because I'll progress faster as a human being. I'll grow much faster. I'll get better much faster. I'll get quicker much faster. If I'm braver to push into all the discomfort in the directions where I want to grow. So whether it's being stronger with the army generals and telling them, stop, now is enough. It's not fair for you to talk to me in that way.
Yeah.
You need to show me more empathy. You need to care more for my feelings. I need to help me grow rather than pushing me down and destroying me, trying to. Yeah. So I'd be more brave, more honest, more authentic, and push much harder with care. And that would be a big one. And I could be so much better then. Oh my goodness, because I was so I was not brave.
What would you say is your greatest weakness?
Well, the weakness was also my strength, which is that sensitivity that I have.
Yeah,
because it's both, and it depends. It's generally causes a lot of struggles mentally. Just thinking I'm not good enough, never gonna win, I'm a loser. It's like this. It's this demon inside your brain that keeps trying to tell you these things.
Has it gone?
It's always gonna be there. It's always gonna be there. I just care less now because for the rest of my life, anything I do in business is gonna be the easiest thing in the world. Whatever, you can throw anything at me, it's just going to be so easy. It's going to be the easiest thing in the world. So I'm kind of lucky because I've done the hardest thing. Everything is just so easy. Oh my goodness. Piece of cake. But which results also in a bit of a lack of, so I don't meditate anymore because it's just so easy. So I don't meditate anymore because I don't have that motivation anymore, which is a pity, but it's okay.
Yeah, you've earned the right.
I've done it. I'm good.
Final question. For people that listen to this amazing conversation, what would you like to leave them thinking about in terms of finding their own version of high performance?
I would just leave in saying that each of us has enormous potential within us, and certainly it doesn't matter how much effort you've done or have not done, you're nowhere near your potential. So it's really about making that effort to explore what is possible to improve our own performance. That means going out, reading. That means finding greater discipline. Beautiful also is creating a vision board, something I've learned last year from a very close friend of mine that I just got to know in recent years. And he is incredible how he goes into great detail and maps out his vision board, writes out his vision board, but great detail. And every morning he listens to it to it himself when he's anyways walking back from dropping the kids off. He has the audio book of his own vision board. So by now, you know, you have text to speech, these AI bots who can read out text. So he's got it in his ear, this bot reading out his vision board every morning. Another, 5 minutes on a 1.5x, you know, fast.
Yeah.
Because it's just a reminder, and it just helps to keep that discipline and to be a better version of yourself, you know. And so this is one of the best learnings for me, and it's really powerful. So on my vision board now is train every single day. And I had a period where I was only playing tennis, not doing any training, and it was like ad hoc, and it's not good. We need to keep moving, you know. So now I'm in the gym every second day, and I'm running every other day, and it's on the vision board. And the more I look at the vision board, the easier it is to follow those guidelines, you know. And so that's super powerful. But it's just another example of all the things we can do to become to grow into our potential, and it leads into more happiness also, which is wonderful. You know, it leads to more happiness for us, for our relationships, for our family, if we ourselves grow into our potential more. So that's the one takeaway that I would really recommend to everybody to push into that. And some of it is going to be uncomfortable. You need to be brave as well, but push, make progress, changes, adapt. Don't stand still, you know. And I see it. Do you know? I see it with my father also. It's really wonderful. My father has never in his life been in a gym, not even when he was a Formula One driver. Really? Never. He hates the gym passionately. But as you get old, you know, mentally it doesn't really get easier because, you know, you have less projects, you have less passions, things start to get a bit lesser, I think, when you're older mentally, is my impression. And all the more important to keep pushing. And my father now has managed to find the motivation to actually go to the gym, which is amazing. And he found so clearly more happiness also as a result.
Love that.
Because he's proud of himself. You know, he's proud. He's taking the discomfort, comes out of the gym, hormones are pumping, and he's super proud of himself that he again went to the gym, you know. And so it's really nice to see that he managed to improve his life. He's nearly 80 now, you know, he's 78 or I don't know.
That's great.
So a beautiful example of progress, you know, and the importance. Yeah.
Amazing. Nico, what a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I hope it was okay for everybody listening. Hope it was worthy of the show.
Better than okay. Honestly, you're a different person to the one that I knew when I was around Formula One.
Because that was just Hollywood.
Yeah.
I couldn't show who I was.
Amazing.
I think it's one of the best conversations we've had. Really, really good.